onions. The big onions come in all sizes. This is kind of a large one, but today we're going to talk about the little onions. And right down here I have a variety of them, and I wanted you to see the difference in the sizes. The small onions have different names, but they're all small onions. They come in a variety of colors. We've got white. We've got two different white ones here. We've got the yellow onion, and we've got red onions. And when you purchase them, they usually come near the produce section, and they're usually in little bags. And they usually tell you, the name of the onion and where it comes from. All of these actually came from the United States. Now, the use of the onions, some people call them scallions because that's the name of a small onion. Some people call them pearl onions because they're small. Some people call them boiling onions because usually to get them all the peel off, you need to boil them. And a lot of people use them in a lot of dishes where there was boiling. Now, you can also get them in canned, usually in jars. And you'll notice right here we've got a small onion. This is called the pearl onion in this batch. And if you'll notice, the size of that is much smaller than this. And you can also get a whole jar of the pearl onions, and they're pickled. And that's a good condiment to have on the side. So, what do we do with these little small onions? We're going to eat them. So, I have a little assortment right here on my cutting board. Now, the skin on these is thinner because they're smaller. And I want to show you the best way to do, if you don't want to boil them, is to cut each of the ends off. And then you just peel down, and you can see this. I'm sure you can't see it very well, but I take off one layer of the onion. And then I get my peel off all the way around. Sometimes the skin is so tight on the onion, you really do need to plunge them into boiling water and boil them for about 3 minutes. And then you drain them in the colander, and then you plunge them into ice water, and then the skins will come right off. Well, most of the time they'll come right off. And that's really valuable if you're going to be doing a lot of onions at once. But if you're only going to be doing 2 or 3, this is the easy way. So let me show that to you in the red onion, so hopefully you can see that a little better. We're going to cut off each end. And now we have this red skin. I'm going to take it off. And then I find the first layer, that first layer that's thicker, and then I just peel that off. And there's my onion. So now, what do I do with it? Look, this one's really juicy. It's turning me red. The easiest way, you know me, I want to do everything the easy way. The easiest thing to do with the small onions, if you're grilling, or if you're not, and you're going to just do it indoors, is to put it on a skewer. And if you notice, I'm doing it sideways. That will hold it together better. If you put it through this way, all the onions can fall out because they're going to get slippery and they'll fall out one end. So I do it on the side, and I just push it on. Now, a nice variety would be to put several different colored onions on together. Or you can put other vegetables in here, or you can put meat in between. And that way you've got your onion and your meat together. Now, the best thing to remember about these is that they are onions. They're just onions. You can use them anywhere onions is called for. And I want to show you, it makes a great side dish. They're not quite as spicy as the bigger onions. So we want to just cut these. We're going to slice these. So I cut it in half and I just slice them. And they don't make you cry so much. That's one of the nice things about it. So then we just put them in the skillet. I've already had some sauteing over here. You put a little butter or your favorite oil in the skillet and just stir it around. And you can add, after you've cooked them, you can add them to recipes. This is one of the good things to add to green beans, is to add some onion to it. And onion makes a lot of taste in a small dish. So this is really important here. And then that's really easy. And then you can add other vegetables to this, or you can add meat to this and saute it with it. Now, the other thing to do with onions, with the pearl onions, I'll call them just for the lack of anything else, is I'm going to cut this one in half again. And then I'm going to just put it into fourths. And that's another way, because see how small they are? When you put it into fourths, that's almost like a slice of a regular onion. Now, the one thing that some people say, well, you can't put these on your hamburger. Oh, yes, you can. And they're really sweet. And I'm putting the quarters into the butter. And this, the nice thing about the different colors is you can make a really nice medley of color just with the different colors. So now let's say we are going to have hamburgers. And you want to use the small onions because that's what you have. And in fact, what I recommend is that a lot of times the best thing to do is to buy the small onions before you buy the big onions. Because most of us don't use a whole onion when we're cooking. And we go down and let it waste. You know, we use it the first time and we don't use it the next time. I'm trying to get the skin off. And then you can just slice it. Can't get the skin off, let's slice it and pull the skin off. And so you want to do these a little thicker. And then we're going to pull the first ring off. There we go. Pull this first ring off. And pull this first ring off. So, oops, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Here we go, right here. I'm going to pull this first ring off. And this is an easy way to peel the slices. And I'll find that a lot of people, when you're doing the burgers, really like, I'm putting red on there for my red ones. They really like the smaller ones because most people don't like a lot of onion on their hamburgers. Well, there's some of us that love to have lots of onion on the hamburger. But that way you can then put a small amount. And they're a little sweeter tasting than the other kind, the big onions. So think of these. The other thing you could do is put them all in just a pan, a baking dish, and spray the tops and the bottoms after you've peeled them, and you can bake them. And they're very versatile. Now this, you'll notice that there's a difference in shape. We have the flat ones and the round ones, but you treat them all the same. They're just from the side, they look round and flat. So go to my website. I have a lot more tricks about using these onions, and I think you'll find that even though you've passed them up on the aisle, in fact, the other day when I went to buy these, there was a woman looking at them, and I didn't really notice her until I started buying, and she goes, "Why are you buying those?" She says, "I don't know what to do with those." And so we talked about it, and she ended up buying every color they had that day. She thought it was fantastic. So I hope you will too, and I hope you will try to eat the smaller onions.